From the moment a primitive species adopts a jagged piece of rock or bone, not as a tool, but as a weapon, a type of countdown begins. To go from the forging of spears to the splitting of atoms often takes many millennia, but a time will always arrive when the weapons harnessed by a civilization become powerful enough to destroy their creators. It is a test on a society's mechanisms of self-control, mediation, and restraint, and it is a test the Krogan failed. Even before their homeworld was bathed in nuclear fire, Tuchanka was a place where life struggled to survive. Its intense temperature, alkaline seas, and violently volcanic surface ensured the creatures that evolved there were as brutal and unforgiving as the planet itself. The Krogan race emerged as the apex predators on Tuchanka, though it was a position they had to continually fight to maintain. Physiologically, the Krogan bore many similarities to the reptiles found on Earth. They possessed wide-set eyes capable of 240-degree vision, armored plates across their bodies, and thick hides extremely resilient to environmental hazards or native predators. Individuals typically stood well over 7 feet tall and could weigh upwards of 150 kilos. Krogan biology also featured a high amount of redundancy to further strengthen them against blunt force trauma. These included 2 hearts, 4 lungs, and even separate nervous systems. The average Krogan could absorb physical punishment far beyond the capacity of most other races, and this intense hardiness meant they could live for many centuries. The constant struggle for survival meant that Krogan females evolved to produce upwards of 1,000 eggs each year, with few Krogan surviving to adulthood across most of their history. It was the characteristic shoulder hump of the Krogan that defined their race, however. These stored extra water and nutrients, allowing individuals to survive on sparse sources of nourishment much too meager for most other forms of life. A larger hump symbolized a Krogan's hunting prowess, and therefore their higher status within Krogan society. Much of that society was left in ruins, lost to war and nuclear devastation. Ancient sources depicted a Krogan civilization rich with cultural, architectural, and artistic achievements, one forever changed after industrialization. The population spike that accompanied their technological advancement left Tuchanka unable to support their growing numbers, sparking countless wars over dwindling resources. The discovery of atomic energy left their homeworld an irradiated wasteland, and for the next 2,000 years, warring clans sought control over the meager resources that remained. Even with their prodigious birth rate, the Krogan race struggled to survive. Respite finally arrived with the alien Salarians, one of the Citadel Council member races upon which galactic civilization was based. After discovering Tuchanka, the Salarians relocated the Krogan to more amenable planets, free of dangerous predators or radiation. They gifted the Krogan with advanced technology far beyond what they had achieved before, and on Tuchanka constructed a great environmental stabilizer meant to one day restore its shattered biosphere. Salarian benevolence was not without motive. In exchange for their cultural uplifting, the Citadel races hoped the Krogans would eventually serve as soldiers in their prolonged and bloody war against the insectoid and hive-minded Rachni. Within 2 generations, the Krogans had amassed the numbers to turn the tide of the conflict, traveling to the hostile surfaces of Rachni worlds and destroying the nests of their queens. With their victory in the Rachni Wars, the Krogan were celebrated as heroes across the whole of the galaxy. Even on the Citadel itself, in the heart of the galactic community, statues were erected in their honor, and the Council bestowed on the Krogan further worlds to colonize. Peace was not agreeable to the Krogan race, however. Their aggressive and territorial nature quickly clashed with the other species of the Citadel Council. Without the harsh conditions of Tuchanka to keep their numbers in check, even the new planets granted to them could not provide enough resources. The Krogan began to forcibly seize worlds belonging to the other races of the Citadel, culminating with the Asari world of Lucia. War broke out soon after, dragging on for 3 centuries with a Krogan victory seemingly inevitable. With neither the physical prowess or military mindset needed to end the Krogan rebellions, the Asari and Salarians turned to the recently discovered Turian hierarchy for aid. In an ironic repetition of history, the Citadel Council came to rely on the Turians in the wars against the Krogan, where once they had relied on the Krogans in their wars against the Rachni. It was the Genophage that finally ended the Krogan rebellions, a bioweapon developed by the Salarians and deployed by the Turians. Following its spread across their race, only one Krogan egg in 1,000 could produce a viable offspring, and confronted with extinction, the Krogan warlords surrendered. Forced to demilitarize and decommission most of their military equipment, Krogan civilization could no longer sustain the endless wars and conflicts upon which its people had depended for unity. The very concept of a Krogan government was discredited. Where once a warlord could command enough power to subjugate and rule entire star systems, following the Genophage, it was rare for a Krogan leader to amass even a few thousand followers. The remaining Krogan colonies, and even Tuchanka itself, were divided amongst many nation-states, vying for legitimacy while barely able to exercise their sovereignty. Clans became a de facto form of government. Historically, clan membership was largely ceremonial, required to own property or join the army of the greater Krogan state. After the fall, they became largely independent, self-governed communities. Female Krogan, widely accepted as more concerned with the fate of their species compared to their male counterparts, were often raised to positions of authority. Faced still with the ravages of the Genophage, some formed all-female clans where fertile members were protected at all costs. Each clan had their own independent military, which operated under the command of a battlemaster. Formidable warriors unequaled across the galaxy, each was responsible for the training, equipping, and deployment of all Krogan under their command. Before the Genophage, the military doctrine of most battlemasters was focused on overwhelming the enemy with sheer numbers, combined with decisive and aggressive tactics. With the Krogan available for military service drastically reduced, battlemasters were forced to adopt different tactics, prioritizing acts of terrorism, piracy, and guerrilla warfare over any war of attrition. But for every Krogan that remained on Tuchanka in the hopes of revitalizing their dying race, others drifted across the galaxy in search of fleeting fame and wealth. Driven by self-interest, many became muscle for hire. Krogan were a typical sight within mercenary companies, private armies, or even as bouncers for high-end nightclubs. With no greater purpose, Krogan rarely planned for the future, changing allegiances without hesitation whenever a more profitable offer presented itself. This lack of loyalty was rampant among the remaining Krogan, earning them a reputation as untrustworthy and treacherous. This rampant selfishness existed across Krogan culture even before their fall. Most were unsympathetic and blunt, only respecting strength and self-reliance. Nowhere in Krogan history would the weak or selfless be expected to live long. Krogan were largely solitary and driven by a deep sense of fatalism or futility, in part due to the violent nature of their homeworld, but also due to the profound social effect the Genophage had imparted on their remaining society. Religion had not been a crucial part of Krogan culture for some time. However, the reverence they showed towards their ancestors was remarkable for such a self-interested people. The skulls of mighty warriors who had fallen were interred on Tuchanka in the Hollows, a burial site which served as a reminder to all Krogan of where they had come from and where they would one day go. Pieces of their ancient religion were still present in their culture well after the Genophage, with the colony of Vol named for a Krogan god who stood watch for the enemies of his pantheon. Many Krogan also expressed a belief in some form of afterlife, known to them as the Void. While their formal religion had largely withered, Krogans remained very ritualistic and traditionalist. Several times throughout a Krogan's life, they went through a ceremonial process known as a rite, such as the rite of life when they were born, the rite of passage when they became of age, or the rite of authority should they have wished to become a clan leader or shaman. These rites varied in the danger of their task, but were generally quite intense and perilous. The rite of passage, necessary to be considered for breeding, was often fatal, since it requires the participant to fight a variety of vicious fauna, including the deadly Thresher Maw. Surviving for a mere 5 minutes in an arena with a Thresher Maw made any Krogan worthy of joining the clan of their choice. Regardless of any clan, colony, or profession, to be a Krogan was to endure the knowledge that their race had failed the test of civilization. But long ago, a time had come when the galaxy looked to the Krogan not as marauding conquerors, but as saviors and liberators, and some records say that time might have come again. A time when the galaxy was once more threatened with destruction, on a scale that dwarfed even the Rachni Wars. If such reports can be believed, then the Krogan again fought united for the future of their race, for every race. They fought to save the homeworld of a people who had once tried to destroy them, and were rewarded with a cure, one that breathed new life into their race. Or perhaps not. Perhaps the last Krogan was crushed beneath the feet of an enemy as old and unforgiving as the universe itself. Countless, conflicting stories purport to tell the final fate of the galaxy, but in all of them, every single one, the Krogan had plenty of things to shoot. The Templin Institute investigates the factions, nations, and organizations of alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.